The moment Stella raised her hand and slapped the old beggar, the entire street went silent. She did not know that single slap would follow her for the rest of her life. She did not know it would rob her of her biggest dream. Her mother had warned her many years ago, but she did not listen. This is African Folktales with Nsinem. Listen to Stella's shocking story. Stella was her mother's pride and joy. She was a beautiful young lady, yes, but that was not what made her stand out. Stella was incredibly intelligent. Born to Joseph, a simple cleaner, and Sandra, a woman who sold pepper in the local market, no one could explain where Stella's brilliance came from. There was no way her parents could have afforded to send her to Gifted Girls High School, if not for the scholarship she miraculously won. Attending Gifted Girls High School was the dream of middle-class parents, let alone Stella's very poor parents. It was a prestigious institution, attended only by the daughters of governors, senators, and powerful men. So when the scholarship letter arrived, her parents were both excited and afraid. If only they had known what awaited their daughter within those beautiful school walls, they would never have allowed her to set foot there. When the school prospectus arrived, Joseph and Sandra immediately realized the school was far beyond their means. The scholarship covered only tuition. It did not cover uniforms, boarding fees, books, or personal requirements. Joseph suggested they give up the opportunity, but Sandra would not hear of it. She knew the local government school could never give her daughter the exposure and training the school offered. So Sandra insisted that her husband sell the only land the family owned. It was their last inheritance, but they believed Stella's future was worth the sacrifice. They believed that one day Stella would rise and lift the entire family with her. Stella had 2 brothers, but none showed the brilliance she did. The land was sold and Stella was enrolled. The day her mother dropped her off at school, tears streamed down her face. She held Stella tightly and whispered, "Please, my daughter, make us proud. Focus on your studies." But Sandra had no idea what was waiting for them in that little frightening land called the future. Gifted Girls High School was an eye-opener for Stella. Beyond the advanced curriculum, the girls were taught etiquette, how to sit, how to speak, how to walk like refined ladies. For the first time in her life, Stella was introduced to fine dining. She learned how to talk confidently, read a room, and command attention. But exposure to a whole new world changed her forever. She became silent whenever her classmates spoke about holidays in exotic countries, private jets, or dining with celebrities whose names Stella had never even heard before. To survive, Stella became an actress. She listened carefully to their stories, memorized every detail, and from them she created a beautiful make-believe world, a world she shared with her new friends, a world that would soon come crashing down. To her friends, Stella was the daughter of a rich oil and gas magnate that loved keeping his family private from the public eye. Then one day, Stella's make-believe world came tumbling down. It was their visitation day, and I know you guessed it right. Her parents came visiting. Stella had thought her parents would not be able to afford to visit her, not after the miracle they had performed by being able to afford everything in the school prospectus. She was seated with her friends and was going through the gift one of her friends had gotten from her parents when an announcement was made through the school public address system that her parents were waiting at the visiting hall. Stella was mortified, but her friends were excited to meet Stella's parents. None of them knew. Stella excused herself. She told her friend she needed to use the restroom and hurried to the visiting hall. And there were her parents, beaming with joy and waiting for her with open arms. And as Stella hurriedly walked towards them, she heard her friends call out, "Stella, wait for us!" And in an instant, they all hurried to her side. Her parents, who were hoping for an epic reunion, were shocked that their daughter, who was running to meet them, had suddenly stopped. So they walked up to her. "Are these your parents?" one of the girls asked Stella. That was the moment Stella's life changed forever. If you're enjoying this story and you are eager to know what Stella did, hit the like button and tell me in the comments what you think she did. Don't forget to comment where you are watching from. I'd love to send you a virtual hug in my next video. Stella looked at her parents and denied them to their faces. "No, this is my father's gate man, and that is our cleaner," Stella said, pointing to her mother. Her mother's mouth fell open. "My father is out for an important meeting, and my mother is on a trip with the First Lady of South Africa," she explained to her friends. The girls politely greeted the gate man and cleaner and left them. Joseph and Sandra both felt naked. They didn't know which one hurt more, being referred to as a cleaner and gate man by their own seed, or the way their own daughter looked at them with so much disgust. Sandra handed over the little bag she brought with her to Stella. "We made plantain and fish stew for you. But before we go, Stella, remember that if you forget who you are and how you started, if you forget your roots, you will lose the lessons that will shape and keep you grounded." Her father didn't say a word. And for all the years Stella remained at Gifted Girls High School, her parents never visited her again. But Stella failed to heed that advice. She saw no reason to. After graduating from Gifted Girls High School, she secured a fully funded scholarship to Harvard. There, she met Jim and her life changed. Jim was the kind of son-in-law parents pray about. He was incredibly handsome, intelligent, well-read, and very rich. Old money meets new money kind of rich. The kind of rich Stella could not even fathom. But one thing Stella couldn't understand was Jim's level of humility. The young man was not only humble, he was so kind. Donating to charity organizations was his favorite thing to do. That part was okay with Stella. The part that bothered her and even irritated her was the beggars he gave money to every day. But in front of Jim, Stella was a different person. She would often give money to the beggars as well. After dining with the rich, Stella became skilled at being anyone she needed to be to fit in. One day, Jim told Stella that he wanted them to visit his mother. Though Jim hadn't proposed to her yet, Stella knew it was on the horizon, and meeting his mother was a good sign. Stella, who had lived most of her adult life avoiding her mother, found it uncomfortable meeting Jim's mother. They embarked on the long trip to Jim's country home. Stella became very apprehensive. She had to get her facts right. She had learned how to cook all the local and international dishes. Stella was prepared to wow Jim's mother. But as they got close to Jim's estate, Jim received a very upsetting call. Though Stella didn't hear both ends of the phone call, she knew all was not well. Jim told her that he would have to turn and go back into town to receive some important business officials and tie up some business deals. He apologized and assured Stella that he would join her in a few hours. Stella became worried, and she had every reason to be, because her mask was about to be removed. Not long after Jim got down from the car, they continued their journey. But then, the car developed a small fault and they had to stop. While Stella waited for the driver to fix the issue, an old woman walked up to Stella. She was dressed in rags and a big dirty hat, shiny earrings that looked like pearls, though she knew a beggar couldn't possibly afford them. Stella assumed the old lady was a beggar. "My daughter, I am really hungry. Please, can you give me some money to buy food?" Stella ignored her. The old woman repeated herself and came even closer to Stella. Still, Stella ignored her. Then the lady repeated herself the third time and touched her hand. Stella raised her hand and slapped the woman hard, sending her crashing to the ground. Her hat fell off, exposing a beautiful shiny grey hair mixed with some black strands. "How dare you touch me with those filthy hands?" Stella backed and got back into the car. The driver rushed up to the old lady and helped her up. Not long after, the car was back to normal and they drove up. Stella looked around, but the old lady was gone. "Good riddance," Stella said to herself. As the car drove deeper into the quiet countryside, Stella suddenly began to feel uneasy. Her chest felt tight, her head throbbed lightly, and for the first time since she left home years ago, a strange fear crept into her heart. She brushed it off. Maybe I'm just nervous about meeting Jim's mother, she told herself. When they finally arrived at the compound, Stella stepped down from the car and froze. The house was massive, old money massive. Tall brown pillars, wide verandas, an atmosphere that spoke of tradition and dignity. Servants rushed forward to welcome her. "Madam Stella, welcome," one of them said respectfully. She smiled proudly. "Yes, this is my world now." She was led into the living room to wait for Jim's mother. Moments later, she heard footsteps. Slow, firm, confident. When the woman walked in, Stella's heart stopped. It was the same old woman, the beggar, the woman she had slapped, but now she was dressed in a rich wrapper, coral beads around her neck, and her grey hair packed neatly under a royal head tie. The shiny earrings were real pearls. Stella's knees weakened. The woman looked at her quietly, then she spoke. "So, you are the girl my son wants to marry." Stella opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Her tongue felt heavy. Her throat burned. She fell to her knees immediately. I'm sorry, ma. I didn't know. I thought you were a beggar," the woman finished calmly. "Yes," Stella sobbed. "Please forgive me." The woman sat down slowly. "My name is Madame Eleanor," she said, "and I wasn't begging." She paused. "I was testing you." Stella's head snapped up. "I test every woman my son brings home," Madame Eleanor continued, "because kindness is not shown in front of cameras or wealthy guests. It is revealed in how you treat those you think are beneath you." Tears streamed down Stella's face. "I failed," she whispered. "Yes," the woman replied, "you did." Just then, Jim walked in. He froze when he saw Stella kneeling and crying. "Mother, what's wrong?" Madame Eleanor turned to her son. "This is the woman you want to marry," she said. "She slapped me today because she thought I was poor." Jim's face drained of color. He looked at Stella, the woman he loved, and for the first time he saw someone else, not the confident, graceful Stella, but a woman filled with pride. "Is it true?" he asked quietly. Stella nodded, crying uncontrollably. Jim stepped back. "My mother taught me something," he said painfully, "that how you treat the poor is how you truly are." He took a deep breath. "I can forgive mistakes, but cruelty is a choice." That same evening, Jim ended the relationship. No proposal, no engagement, no marriage. Stella's biggest dream died that day. She returned to her apartment alone, and that was when her downfall truly began. Within months, doors began to close. Every job she applied for was mysteriously rejected. Investments failed, connections disappeared. It was as if life itself had turned its back on her.
Years later, Stella finally gathered courage to return home. She found her mother older, thinner, but still selling pepper in the sea market. When Sandra saw her daughter, she dropped her tray and wept. "I warned you," her mother said softly. "When you forget your roots, you forget your humanity." Stella held her mother's feet and cried like a child. That day, she learned too late what pride had cost her. Some lessons come gently, others come when it is already too late. Never despise anyone because of their appearance, and never be ashamed of your roots. They are the foundation of your destiny. When you deny where you come from, you slowly destroy where you are going. Pride may open doors, but only humility can keep them open. Do you think James' mother's test went